co-founder and managing director of SeaAhead BlueTech Innovation. So today he will make a presentation on the venture-based new role for the sustainable ocean.
Hi everybody, this is Mark Huang from SeaAhead. It is a pleasure and an honor to be part of the World Ocean Forum. For the next 10 minutes, will talk about BlueTech innovation and what we're doing in Boston. Second slide. So what is SeaAhead? We focus on startups that have anything to do with the ocean and sustainability. We run an incubator. We have startup companies who are member companies who are looking for community to meet other like-minded startups and advisors and corporates, and as well as just simply mentorship. And we also focus on trying to help finance these companies because finding financing right now in our tough economic world is hard. Our partners are the New England Aquarium and the Cambridge Innovation Center, and we are in the hustle bustle of Boston's vibrant venture tech ecosystem, but we're focused on the ocean. The team, my background quickly, I was trained as a marine engineer, naval architect. I worked in shipyards, but I really spent 10 years with GE Capital working on clean tech over 20 years ago. Had my own venture capital fund and had also served in the Army Reserves as an officer and nation building and economic development. Our team has a maritime clean tech startup and consulting background. So what is BlueTech and why now? Now, one, at a very high level, just for us as humanity on Earth, we are having population growth that's going to go over 9 billion people. We're also having the rise of the Asian middle class, particularly China, where the average Chinese today eats twice as much protein as their parents, as an example. So the demand that we as humans have on the ocean will only increase. From an economics perspective, the OECD believes that the maritime marine-related economy in the world will grow at twice the rate of the average GDP growth for the world. So it's also, we need to do something about the ocean to make it more sustainable because we're demanding more, but there's also top-line revenue growth. So what is happening on both the intersection of sustainability and the ocean in the private sector? Here's some newspaper clippings that are just examples. This is BMW, which makes cars, of course, but they're looking at the circular economy, how everything they do becomes recycled, to include looking at what type of ships actually move their cars and how are they recycled and if it's done in a recyclable way. That's new. The next example, Unilever, is simply all the plastics that we consume. Now there's a big push from us consumers saying we want the plastics to be biodegradable or easier, more recycled, because many of the plastics end up, as we know, in the ocean. The third one is seafood, whether that be all the illegal fishing and overfishing and wild seafood or the interest in more sustainable aquaculture. And the last one here as an example is traditional clean tech, but now applied to shipbuilding, ports, and shipping. This is one example of a headline in Los Angeles, Long Beach, that they're going to spend $14 billion to clean up the pollution coming from the port. And that's not even talking about carbon. So SeaAhead, how do we look at the world regarding blue tech and the opportunity? So the blue lines going horizontal are advances in certain technology sectors that are happening independent of the ocean. Robotics, AI, and Internet of Things sensors. There's the advances in software, and there's the data analytics. There's material science advances. There's hardware advances, such as in clean tech. So we see the intersection. We look for the intersection of these verticals. How can these advances in technology and material science and other related hardware apply to offshore renewable energy, apply to fisheries, apply to aquaculture, or apply to ports and shipping, or marine debris, or a smart city? We focus only on the ocean, so we only talk to people really on the ocean. The clean tech crowd really focuses on land, and that's a big difference. You're seeing in the world now these rise of these new blue tech incubators and accelerators all over the world, and naturally they focus on what they're good at. The Norwegians are focusing on shipping and aquaculture. We focus on less so on exactly the fishery part of the aquaculture, where we really focus in the Boston area of bringing the technology into let's say, clean tech and shipping. The couple specific examples, let's talk about maritime, right? We all know of the multitude of new pollution requirements that are hitting global shipping. So just an example of the opportunity is there's an estimate here in the Wall Street Journal. It's going to be $1 trillion worth of spending just on carbon to decarbonize shipping. An example of where we see why innovation can play a role. This company is plasma water treatment from CleanTech. We've worked with the company to bring their technology to tackle invasive species in ballast water or gray water on a cruise ship. So it's an example of technologies developed in other sectors and how do we bring that into the maritime and marine sector. The living ocean is aquaculture, which now can also include seaweed as well as wild fisheries. This is one of the highest growth markets that we see in the blue economy. We just demand more protein from the ocean. That includes aquaculture. How do we make aquaculture more sustainable, more efficient? Smart city. I've done a lot of work in smart city. The numbers are big, but we focus on what's underwater in a smart city. So the example, that little picture on the left here is an underwater drone in New York City that really only focuses on gathering data underwater. It is a smart city device. It's just not traditional like LED streetlights. And of course, there's the ocean plastics. A lot of interest on tackling plastics and what we do as humans in our waste that goes out to sea. So I mentioned this is what we do at SeaAhead, from financing to incubator to mentorship. We are in Boston. Why Boston? Boston is number 2, possibly number 3 in the world in venture capital. As a standalone institution, it's not only MIT, but MIT, as an example, produces the most amount of intellectual property of any campus in the United States. As a standalone, it is a center of excellence in life sciences, clean tech, and robotics. We're looking to bring those advances that Boston has into the maritime and marine sectors. So this is an example of what the Boston ecosystem looks like. It's really a dense cluster with amazing capabilities. Here's an example of some of our startup companies. They range from fisheries and aquaculture to robotics, shipping, offshore renewables, water pollution, and material science. Once again, all of these startups are looking for community or mentorship, and that's why they join our group. And I would say only 2/3 of this group is actually from the New England area. Many are actually from Europe, and 1 or 2 are from Asia as well. I mentioned we also run an incubator. We think there isn't enough help for early stage entrepreneurs who want to work on the ocean, unlike life sciences or unlike clean tech in the US. So the incubator is designed to give you a grant. We give you a place to work and we give you mentorship. It's a 4-month program. And the idea is that we really want to help you get on your feet if you're a researcher in, let's say, the New England area and you want to work on something to do with the ocean. I mentioned the Blue Angels Investment Group. There's a lack of funding in blue tech. And it is like clean tech maybe 25 years ago. So the companies are particularly struggling to find investments. So we, pool a group of investors who are interested in investing. That could be individuals, could be corporates. And we've gotten 2 companies recently funded. And we're also looking to deploy our own capital in forming our own investment vehicle. It's SeaAhead LLC. So lastly, I will conclude is that blue tech innovation is happening. It's happening all over the world. So Korea is what? Korea is a global leader, clearly, in shipping. It has many ports. It's a global leader in shipbuilding. It's a global leader in seafood. And it's pushing renewable energy. And of course, our technology really shown through consumer electronics, where Korea is a leader. So the question is now with blue tech and open innovation, could all these competencies for Korea be brought to bear and focus on what some of the other places in the world are doing, saying how can startups help us work with our core strengths to really look at new innovation tied to the ocean through venture-based innovation. So in SeaAhead, that could mean working with Korea on technology market intelligence, helping scout relevant startups, helping be part of a community through events, and showcasing what is happening in Korea in the New England area, as well as helping to invest for certain companies in Korea that are looking to focused on blue tech, and that includes finding the deals, doing due diligence, as well as managing them. So I'll conclude that we're so excited to talk to Korea. It is such a big player in the world on the ocean economy, and it's a technology leader. And we would just hope to be able to follow up from this conference and talk about blue tech, SeaAhead in Korea. Thank you so much.